Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is food transparency, farm to table, clean sourcing, food origin, knowing where your food comes from. So here's a major article from a big restaurant magazine called Restaurant Business. Restaurant Business is their online edition. And this is what's being sent to chefs. This is being sent to chefs and restaurateurs and people in the business, okay? Point of origin stories bring authenticity to the table. Not all ingredients are created equal, and increasingly restaurant goers want to know more details about how their food reaches their tables. A 2014 report from marketing researchers Sullivan, Higdon, and Sink finds that 65% of consumers want to know where their food is sourced, and 67% of consumers think it's important to understand how their food's produced. And what's more, 52% of consumers want restaurants to be more transparent about the content of their menu items, and 70% said it's important to feel good about the food and beverages they consume, according to Chicago research firm Technomic. These are staggering numbers, people. These are insane numbers. To think that 65% of consumers want to know where their food is sourced. That's a huge number. The problem is a lot of restaurants just aren't willing to divulge where their food comes from. They're not willing to show off. They're not proud enough. They're not in that mindset that you as a consumer have the right to know where your food comes from. You have every right. It's your hard-earned money. It's like, see, these restaurants keep it a secret. Oh, this is, I can't stand restaurants when you go to, oh, this is great. Do you have the recipe? No, it's proprietary recipe. Like a consumer's going to take it home and make the recipe, right? I was told to me in one place in Montreal, a great vegan restaurant there, told me, oh, the dessert, oh no, the cheesecake, we can't tell the recipe. It's like, really? I mean, come on. I just want to know what's in it, right? For allergies. But beyond that, these are staggering numbers. And here's another statistic that the Green Restaurant Association quotes. 79% of people surveyed want to eat at a green restaurant. So why aren't more restaurants doing this? Why aren't more restaurants stepping to the plate and having transparency? Why aren't they showing you? In my restaurant, I say where everything comes from. I have nothing to be ashamed of, I have nothing to hide. And there's certain foods in my restaurant that I won't eat, and I'll tell you. I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't personally consume it. But you have to understand, out of all the ingredients that I've bought, that's the best one in that category, right? So now my tastes or my dietary guidelines are a little different. I'm mostly vegan. I'm strictly vegan, except for when it comes to tasting food that we're serving. But if I sit down and eat something, it's strictly vegan. So there's certain items in here that I look at my restaurant, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it's an okay ingredient. It's better than all the other options out there, right? But it's still not something that, hey, we're proud of or something that I would 100% endorse, but it's the best thing that I can do with that particular ingredient. We go so far in depth with our ingredients. I mean, we know the owners of the salt mine. We've met the salt mine owners. We know, the palm sugar producer. We get in depth. All of our olive oil is American from a small co-op in California. So everything's really in depth with where our food has come from. And I buy a lot of things that I'm proud of. And to say I wouldn't really eat something on my menu, like I don't eat olive oil, so, don't think because I won't eat something on my menu doesn't think that it's a bad ingredient. It's just they're not part of my diet, part of my dietary habits, part of my regime. So, but with these numbers, restaurants should be touting where everything comes from, right? If you can market to more than 50% of the people out there, if more than 50% of the people out there are looking for this kind of stuff, why aren't you marketing to the majority of the people? This is the majority of the people are looking for real food, know how it's produced, want to make sure it's healthy, want a story behind it, want to eat green. 79% of the people want to eat green. Now, for me, we advertise all this. We get in depth. We talk about it. We list it on our menu. We talk about it on our website. I have a YouTube channel, which is why I talk about all this kind of stuff. Does it cost more? Yes, it does cost more. And are people willing to pay the bigger difference? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And I think that's might be where some of the problem is. Some people are sometimes gun shy when it comes to spending more to know. Because let's face it, if something has a story that's worth being told, it's going to cost more. You wouldn't want to tell a story how animals are tortured. They go through a processing line of 400 an hour, animals are missed when they're plugged and how they're going to the first station still conscious. That's not a story. What's the story is, this farm has so many acres, the cattle are grass-fed, he has chickens on his land, he does this, he does that, it does crop rotating. That's what makes a story. But unfortunately, when you get into that kind of food production, it can cost more because you're supporting a real farm, a real community, real workers. You're not supporting a big monstrosity that is subsidized from the government to grow corn or wheat or soy or to raise cattle or dairy products. You're not buying from this huge, massive producer where it's not a real value. The economy is not real. It's the CEO is making a ton of money, $1 million, $3 million, $10 million in some of these cases, and they're paying all these migrant workers through this food to produce the food. They're taking shortcuts in the food. They're spraying chemicals and all that kind of stuff. So it does cost more because you're buying from a real person, a real farm, a real community. You're buying from people that are actually employing people. You're buying from a guy who's paying for dance lessons for his daughter or horseback riding lessons for his daughter, is taking his son skiing, right? That's what you're doing. And that's where it makes a difference. And if more people do that, it pushes the other guys out. So what do you do when you go to a restaurant? How do you pick a restaurant? One wants to know. People ask me, how do we pick a restaurant like yours, Marcus? This and that. You know, go to websites. Check out websites. Get recommendations from health food stores. Get recommendations from other people that you know that eat healthy or want to know where their food comes from. But go to the farmer's market. Go to the farmer's market. Check out the farmers and say, hey, what restaurants? What are the best restaurants in this area that support local, that buy your product, that buys products here? What's the best chef to work with? What's your favorite chef? Okay? You start asking questions like that, you'll find answers of, hey, this is where we're going to eat. This is how we're doing it. And build a rapport with the restaurant. If a restaurant is not willing to tell you where something's from, don't let them come after you and say, oh, we threw out the box. That's lame. That is totally lame. There's no excuse for that. You need to know what's in your food and where your food's from. Throwing the box out doesn't cut it. Okay, it just doesn't cut it. I was told that at a wedding. I was asking what was in the dinner rolls, and I knew what was in the dinner rolls, and I wasn't going to eat them anyway. But I wanted to really know what was in them because somebody else was asking. And oh, we threw out the box. Excuse me, you're a catering hall. You probably have 10 cases of that in your freezer. Okay, you didn't just throw out the box, and it's easy to find because you can go on a website and you can find it because you probably bought it from Cisco or from some other big company, and the ingredients are listed online, so it's not that difficult. If you're really concerned, you would have told me the brand. Okay, and I could have looked it up on my iPhone right then and there. So throwing the box out, not giving you the ingredient list, that's just, it's not what the majority of the people want anymore. So step up, encourage restaurants, let restaurants know that you're willing to pay, that you're willing to support them, and that you appreciate what they're doing when it's coming to sourcing real food and telling you where their food comes from. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. Thanks for watching this video. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and definitely pass it on.